Yes, thank you.
I like that. There you go. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see some smiles out there, okay? I'd like to welcome everyone to our Tuesday, August 16th, 7 p.m. board meeting. And at this moment, I would like to call the meeting to order, and I would ask all of you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, roll call.
Supervisor Kowal.
Here.
Clerk Noble here. Treasurer Roman.
Here.
Trustee Ruggles.
Here.
Trustee Smith.
Here.
Trustee Voorhees.
Present.
Trustee Powell.
Here. Full house. I'm going to make an amendment to the agenda. We're going to remove item 10B, remove item 6E, and swap location from 10A to 10D and 10D to 10A so that we can get staff out the door easier. So that is my motion in the form of a motion for the approval of the agenda. Looking for support.
Support.
I have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Next item, number 5, public comment. Anyone in the crowd has something to say, you'll have 3 minutes to do so, and you'll have to state your name for the recorder. Seeing as there is none, I will close public comment. We will go on to consent agenda. Consent agenda is a list of revenue expenses, check disbursements, budget amendments, and department reports. Looking for a motion?
Motion to approve consent agenda as amended.
I have a motion.
Are we removing the FOIA item?
It was removed.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
It was already removed. Yeah.
Support.
I have a motion, I have support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item 7, we'll group them together. A, B, and C, the minutes of the special board meeting of June 14th, the regular board meeting of June 21st, and a special board meeting of July 21st. Any questions or comments from the board at this time?
Mr. Supervisor, just whoever makes the motion, make sure that it's as amended. All right, I move to approve the minutes of June 14th, the special board meeting of June 14th, the regular board meeting of June 21st, and the special board meeting of July 21st as amended.
We have a motion to approve the 14th of June, the 21st of June, and the 21st of July as amended. Looking for support.
Support.
I have motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Next item is something we don't get to do very often. We have a new bookworm in town, okay? And April, can you come up? This is April Stevenson. She is our new director of our White Lake Township Library, and I'd like to welcome her to our community. So, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you, Supervisor Cowell. Good evening, Township Board of Trustees, Library Liaison Liz Smith, Clerk Anthony Noble, Treasurer Mike Roman, and members of the White Lake community. I appreciate your invitation to tonight's board meeting and your thoughtful introduction. Since starting this position on May 23rd, I have felt 3 things: humility, thankfulness, and excitement. Humility for the kindness shown to me by Township staff, the library board, friends group, staff, and patrons, as well as several of our area agencies like the Chamber, the Historical Society, and the Highland White Lake Business Association. Thankfulness to community members that stopped by the library to introduce themselves, provide a story, a suggestion, and of course, for their support of the millage. And lastly, excitement to continue the forward momentum of the library, to provide exemplary library services, to extend outreach services to those community members that are limited or unable to make it into the building, and foster and build community connections to serve the needs of our patrons. A community is always stronger when we work together. The White Lake Township Library is so much more than books. It is a community gathering place. Need space to have your child meet with a tutor? We have it. Working remotely and tired of doing it from home? Come visit us and enjoy our free Wi-Fi. Enjoy playing chess? Come try out our giant chessboard. Working nearby? Enjoy your lunch on one of our beautiful patios with new seating and umbrellas. Do you want to inspire your child to read? Then join our summer reading club. As we come to the end of this beautiful summer, we celebrate our patrons' successful summer of reading with nearly 800 readers who read over 17,000 books in over 800,000 minutes. Our very talented White Lake residents submitting so many beautiful tiny art show canvases. Our book club's increased attendance and inspiring book titles. A 57% increase in circulation for June, library visits and program attendance up, a seed library that continues to grow, and people are gardening, and a hugely successful book sale for our Friends group. We also look forward to the fall for many new and regular programs, story times, tail wagging tutors, pumpkin painting, yoga, super science Saturdays, women's self-defense, sugar or spice book group, after hours laser tag, financial literacy for kids, Board of Library Teens, and even Silver Strings Dulcimer Society concert. Movies, crafts, and much more, all planned by a dedicated and caring staff. So I ask all of you tonight, and all of you, if you haven't visited the library, yes, I'm looking at you, come by. Come by and get your library card. There's no better time. Use our study rooms, or you know what? Just come by and have a cup of coffee in some of the many comfortable places in our building. And you know what? I'd be happy to join you because I love coffee myself. So I hope to see you there soon, and I thank you for tonight.
Thank you very much, April.
Yep.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely presentation. Thank you.
Item 9A, public hearing with resolution. We have a public hearing to comment on the emergency sewer connections to 2022-02 Special Assessment District. This is a program that this board put together over, and from time to time, we have emergency hookups to a sewer system when someone has a septic system that fails and the sewer system is within reach. And these special SADs are set up specifically for those types of setups. So I'm going to make a motion to open the public hearing for the emergency sewer connection 2022-02 Special Assessment District. I'll make that in the form of a motion. Looking for support?
Support?
Motion, support, roll call vote.
Supervisor Coe,
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman,
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Powell,
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees.
Yes.
At this time, if there's anyone from the public that has anything that they would like to say regarding the Special Assessment District, the Emergency Sewer Special Assessment District 2022-02, at this time, please come forward and state your case.
Turn it off and reboot him.
Same problem. Are you having this problem as well?
I am.
Seeing as we have no one in the public that is coming forward for public hearing,
Downloaded though, so.
I make a motion to close the public hearing. Looking for support?
Support?
I have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Which takes us to our next item, Resolution 22-026. Mr. Powell.
Seeing no public seeing no public input, and knowing that this is the first of the public hearings, I move the resolution for the adoption of the special assessment for the emergency sewer connection 2022-02, Resolution 22-026.
I have motion, looking for support. Support. I have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Can I just interrupt? Is anyone else having the same problem with their computer? I'm not showing anything.
I can't get it on my phone.
Okay.
anymore, So unfortunately.
I was booted out and restarted, but I'm on now. So I did have a little glitch.
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry.
Technical glitches. Okay.
Want to make sure, okay. Thank you.
Item 9C, be public hearing to hear comment and request by riparian homeowners to have the Michigan Department of Natural Resources conduct an investigation on Bogey Lake regarding establishing a no-wake rule on the entire lake, including the canal on Barrel Avenue, and to limit electrical vessels to not more than 2 horsepower per foot. Now, I will remind my board members that we entertained this earlier in the year. However, procedurally, there was a little information that we, the board, did not have. So we are revisiting this as the required public hearing, and then after the public hearing, we will reaffirm the resolution that we approved back in January 18th of this year. So at this time, if there is anyone that has anything to say, we will go into public hearing in a moment. So this being said, I make a motion to go into public hearing to hear the comment on request by riparian homeowners to have the Michigan Department of Natural Resources conduct an investigation on Bogey Lake regarding establishing a no-wake rule on the entire lake, including the canal and Barrel Avenue, and to limit electric vessels up to but not more than 2 horsepower per foot. I'm making that in the form of a motion, looking for support.
Support.
I have-
Just a quick comment. So I didn't understand what that meant, 2 horsepower per foot. So just so that everyone else knows, it's the length of the boat. 2 horsepower per foot is the length.
I can get into some discussion if you want to.
Just
Yeah.
another quick question. Is it already,
It is an electric motor lake already.
that's what I wondered.
Yes,
Okay,
it's
thank
already
you.
an electric motor lake. Yeah.
And my point of discussion would be, I'm sure we all know this, this is for the DNR to investigate, not our decision that
Correct.
we're making. When they give us information back, we
Correct.
can then
Yeah, we're
discuss
merely
further.
holding a public hearing as part of the
Just allow
DNR's
them to
request.
investigate,
Correct.
yeah.
So that was support, trustee Smith?
Yes.
Motion, support, roll call vote?
Supervisor Kowal?
Yes.
Clerk Noble, yes. Treasurer Roman?
Yep.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Ruggles?
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees?
Yes.
Trustee Powell?
Yes.
At this time, if there is anyone from the public that would like to comment on this resolution, this public hearing and the possible resolution, the public hearing and the possible resolution, do so at this time. You will have to identify yourself for the recorder. And you got 3 minutes. Or less.
I just stand here and don't say anything. Good evening. I'm Rick Derry. I'm with the Pinecrest Shores Homeowners Association. We are the ones who brought this to the board before. We cleared this up in 1974. The DNR came to Bogey Lake and limited the boat motors to electric-only boats in 1974. The forefathers of that act saw it as a nice, calm, quiet lake and wanted to keep it that way. They saw the growth of gas motors then and thought it would be detrimental to the lake and the health of the lake that we had gas motors. In 2016, Bombardier bought up a company called Taiga up in Montreal to explore making carbon fiber electric jet skis. They did a pretty good job on it. There's 2 of them out there called Orca's 150 and Orca 180. These jet skis run at about 67 miles an hour with the 150 and about 119 miles an hour with the 180. They're about a 3.5-hour run time on a 20-minute charge. It's a whole new ball game for us electric boat people that are out there on the lakes here. I also lived on Union Lake when we had a lot of jet ski problems, but we moved off of Union Lake just because of the jet skis problem. What I'm asking here, what the neighborhood is asking, is that we have a maximum of 2 horsepower per foot of vessel. And it's important to me, vessel, because it's boats, not snowmobiles, nothing in the wintertime that's going to affect, something over the ice. We also stated 746 watts in electric horsepower. We have some engineers here. You understand that the torque value in electric motors is consistent throughout the RPM, whereas with gas motors, you have to get up on the Rs. So electric motor, a 40 horsepower electric motor through the manufacturers is saying has the equivalent of a 65 horsepower gas motor. With that in mind, we thought, okay, well, what are we going to do? We have a lot of electric boats. We got 52 electric boats out there right now that are all pontoon boats, and the maximum is a Ray motor that's on there right now at 10 horsepower. And they're all on 24-foot boats. So this would not affect any of the existing boats. It would also allow expansion for the existing boats to, if you had a 24-foot boat, you can also get to a 48 horsepower electric motor, which would be equivalent to about a 75 horsepower gas motor. So we also asked for no wake because we know that eventually somebody's going to drop a 48 horsepower electric on one of the pontoon boats and they're going to be pulling skiers around and so on and so forth. So we asked to establish a no wake law so that it could be controlled. A lot of you folks have been out to that lake. You see it's a 76 acre lake. It's 38 feet in the depth. There's 101 houses on it. There's 52 electric boats right now. And out of the 52 electric boats, 40 of them came within the last 3 years. So we have a huge expansion of boats. And today I brought to the board, we had a picnic over the weekend. Out of the 101 people that are on the lake, we have 76 signatures to back this, that all of us are in agreement. I met with the DNR on Memorial Day weekend. The young lady that they sent out, we went over the lake and what's going on with the lake and what we're trying to accomplish here. So basically it's to keep the forefathers' thought in mind, to keep the lake down to a quiet level. It's a spring-fed lake. It's also the feeder to the Sugden Lake. And we feel that Sugden Lake is smaller than ours, and they have an all-sports lake. It's like a blender over there. You can't even sit on your dock. So this is a gem for Oakland County, and this has big implications for other lakes, such as Green Lake, who tried the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. That doesn't work. So we thought that if we could stop it in the box before it hits the lake, that this would be good for our members that are on the lake there. The association does not cover, it only covers the north and the west side of the lake. And it's only 60 households out of the 101. So these other folks that are on the other side of the lake are also involved with this. I've canvassed all of them to see what their feelings were about this. And unanimously, except for one guy who did not like the entire wake law, he thought that the wake law was too much for the entire lake. We had 100% approval with the exception of one guy, and the only thing he didn't like was the wake law. So with that being said, I can give a copy to this to anybody who wants it. That's where we're going with it. We'll support the DNR and, of course, you folks that if you'll help us out getting this in. There's other, I think, Rick, isn't there 4 other lakes in the township that are all electric?
There are a few that are all electric.
So the decisions here have big implications. The Michigan Boaters Association has already been in contact to find out where this is all going. The DNR was highly interested in it for the west side state. Kent County's got some issues that they don't know what they're going to do with too. So we don't want to limit anybody's access to the lake. We just don't want to have the problems that Union Lake has. We don't have a public access. And I've been in contact with the Oakland County Marine Division. Their thoughts on it they were fabulous about it. They said, it's about time somebody stopped it before it happened rather than, trying to stop it when it happens. So I thank you guys for listening for a minute. Did I blow my 3 minutes through?
Thank you. You're over your 3, but you're good.
Just-
Could I ask a question?
No, there are no questions. It's public comment only at this time.
All right,
We'll get
so
into that
I
shortly.
can ask him a question afterwards.
Afterwards, yeah. Okay.
Questions,
DNR
concerns,
is very
issues?
You
specific
have to
rules.
close first
Okay.
and then.
Yeah, okay.
I was just pulling your chain. Is there are you all set, Rick?
Yeah.
Okay. You may be seated. Anyone else have any public comment on this matter before the board? Seeing none, I will make a motion to close the public hearing. Looking for support? Support. I have motion and support. All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Okay, at this time, this is merely a tool, of course, that is part of the process. And again, with our resolution that we will reaffirm tonight, moves it forward to the state of Michigan, who ultimately is the ultimate decision maker in this process. White Lake Township is merely a conduit, okay? But we have to follow their procedures. Mr. Powell, you had a question?
Yes, I did, thank you. And I don't know if any of us can address it, but maybe Rick can. What is the definition of no wake?
Definition of no wake is where you do not leave any more than a minimal ripple on the water as you go across the lake. So if the boat goes at idle speed, that's considered a no wake.
All right, so it's totally subjective.
It can be, but if somebody goes ripping by at 60 miles an hour, they can't tell you that's no wake.
The reason why I ask that is the hydrofoils, they make virtually zero wake whatsoever if they get up on the hydrofoil. And I didn't know how that is addressed in this.
Well, horsepower to
definition.
foot, I think, would pretty well answer that.
Okay,
Yeah, but that's a very good question, you know. But I think it is subjective. No wake is kind of subjective, you know, so. Any other questions or comments from the board members?
No, I'll just make a comment. I'm a huge proponent of riparian rights, and so I'll be interested to see what the DNR recommends, and just at that time, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, because this board does not have to go in sync with the DNR. We can make our own recommendations, and we can choose wake, no wake. But I'm interested to see, of course, and their investigation. They're the experts, so we'll wait to see what they have to say. So it's just moving it, you know, to them, basically.
Yes, we will take your petitions, though, and not right now, Rick, but we'll take a look at them, okay? All right, thank you. Okay, that being said, I'm looking to reaffirm a resolution 22001 that the board reviewed on January 18th of earlier this year. I'll make that in the form of a motion, looking for support. Support. I have motion and support, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you very much. New business, we're swapping that, if you recall, request to purchase high-speed absentee ballot scanner. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Supervisor, I brought our senior election specialist, Jillian London, tonight to answer any questions that the board may have regarding this high-speed absentee counting.
Well, Jillian, I presume it does what it says it's supposed to do. It counts ballots at a high rate of speed.
Yes.
How many per minute?
You could probably do over 100. I like to put in stacks of 25, just so, because after each section goes through, you make sure that you have the correct amount of ballots. If you put too many ballots in at one time, when you're looking for something, it makes it a little bit harder.
Care to explain
What it is?
what it is and how it works in its entirety?
So we currently use the Verity scan system by heart, and you have to each ballot has to go on one at a time individually. We did almost 4,600 ballots this election, and we had to use 4 scanners, and they still struggled to get done on time. We didn't leave until after 12:30. This would allow us to have our results reported probably no later than 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then we could decrease the amount of workers, and the election security is higher with this because you're only having one machine, only one person is touching the ballots. Well, actually, there's 2. There's a Democrat and a Republican at the station, instead of the 4 machines that we now have.
And the technology that is in place, does this have longevity?
It does. So there's only 2 voting systems in Michigan, as Hart and Dominion, and the county has chosen to use Hart, and they have probably 50 of these high-speed scanners, so they will continue to invest in the Hart
The
program.
county makes the selection of the equipment we use, correct?
Yes.
And they have purchased over
Hart.
the last couple of years, like 50 of them?
Probably more than that, but yes, they have a lot. We were there the other day, and their whole wall is lined with them.
So obviously, they have made a considerable investment in this
Yes.
equipment. And one would hope that the likelihood of a change would be minimal,
Yes.
not existent because of the cost.
Could you please explain the process? So there's, people believe that that it can be hacked into. Can you explain the V drive process for some of the people?
So none of our equipment, whether it's the Verity scan, the laptops, or the high-speed scanner, are ever on the internet. The transmission is done via cellular transmission, so nothing ever goes over the internet. As far as our systems go on our laptops, the only time they are ever on the internet is when we have to do an update.
And who drives the results down to the county?
You and the
Police.
police officer.
And everything's signed and accounted for once we get there.
Yep.
And the
It's
elections-
sealed before it leaves. It's sealed when it comes back to us. A Democrat and a Republican bring it back to our office, and then it's sealed when it goes to the county.
Anything else to add?
I don't think so.
Any questions from the board?
do.
Mr.
Go ahead,
Powell?
Michael.
Oh,
Good.
I just had a question. If the local communities handle all the elections, really, would you explain to me, because I'm very naive, as to why the county needs 50 of these high-speed
Sure.
units if they don't hold an election?
So they are responsible for the elections, but a lot of places have given their absentee county boards over to the county. And that's not something I think that we want to do here. We would like to keep ours in-house, but that's why they're purchasing them, because they are counting for other cities and townships. They started out with just a few, in case there was a recount, so they could run the ballots through pretty quickly. But when COVID hit, a lot of people went to absentee voting, and some cities or townships just didn't have the funds to purchase them. And the county was there after 2020. They were there probably all night, because they can't leave until we all get the results to them. So then they started purchasing all this equipment and taking over people who weren't doing it in a timely fashion.
Julian, didn't a local community give their absentees to the county? And I thought they got charged over $30,000.
They did.
If you could
It's
maybe,
based on the amount of ballots you have and the size of your township. But I do know, I came from Orion, and when I left, they outsourced their absentee voter counting board because they just didn't have the resources to run it when I was gone. And they're paying $30,000 for August and November. So a total of $60,000.
You're well into your machine,
yeah.
and then you own it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Andrea?
so I want to thank you for the discussion that we had in the offices, first of all. We had talked about potentially getting one, and I know, or two, excuse me. And there was a substantial savings if we were to get two. I'm assuming that you and Anthony decided that one was enough.
So I think one will be enough for now. The second one is just a cistern. It can be added on any time. And you can add, as the township grows, you can add as many as you want. And those today are about
So
$35,000.
there's still, we don't get, even though we bought, there's still a savings regardless
Absolutely.
of when we purchase the
Yeah,
one that we're
because
potentially
one is
getting.
your tabulation machine, and that's what's the expensive part. So we're just going to purchase the scanner.
Right. And will that cut down on the staff and the absentee?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't really care because we can't,
Well,
as someone
it'll-
that's worked the election, I don't think we ever, sometimes don't have enough help. So that's not even a concern. Honestly, I was just curious.
And it'll also cut down, I mean, we arrive at 5:45 in the morning, and I know we're here pretty late, and that's what we sign up for.
Yep, absolutely.
But it definitely will cut back on the time that we're here as well.
The overtime.
It'll cut back on the overtime. The 2020 election in Orion, we were reported by 10:30.
Can you explain the grant that we just received?
So there's a
Or the word
2022 security grant, and you can receive up to $1,500 per precinct. And because we have 13 precincts, we can receive $19,500 for this machine.
So that will
So
cut down some
roughly
of the expenses.
20% of it will
Yeah.
be paid by a grant. Trustee Smith?
So that leads perfect segue into my question is, I'm so sorry, but for whatever reason, I cannot open this currently. So I'm going to share with trustee Ruggles if I need to, but my question was, nowhere in here does it share with the board members where you plan to get this funding from, or is it coming out of your budget? How do you plan to pay for it?
Well, 20
And then I think there's like a $77,000 maintenance to it. Yeah, I'm just getting a weird error message at the
borrow
moment.
mine.
Oh, thank you so much.
So the
I appreciate
maintenance
it.
is the 6 to 10 years, and is maintenance on every single one of the Verdi machines. That's not purchased or bought right up front. It'll not happen until the 6-year mark. I think we just paid the maintenance on all of the other Verdi
My
machines.
direct question is, what fund, Anthony, are you going to
ARPA.
pay for this?
We can take it out of the ARPA fund, which is the money that we received.
I know what ARPA is, okay.
That's where.
So you're gonna request this board to pay for this machine out of ARPA.
I would request the board to do so, yes.
It just wasn't included.
I apologize.
Still has to come out of a line item.
Yeah.
ARP is a revenue source. Which
Right.
line item are you going to take it out of, put it in?
Well, I have to come out of elections.
Something in elections,
Yeah,
yeah.
elections, we just have to make an amendment to it and then add the money.
Right, we need a line item amendment.
Yes, that's what it says.
And then we need also clarification on the maintenance cost. Would that be the grant, or you're gonna ask for another line item amendment for the maintenance
If
cost?
you remember back, I don't know, several months ago, we decided to pay up front. You know, the whole, it was like, I think we got like a 7 or 8,000 savings because we paid the entire maintenance up front. And I don't have that before me, but it's months back, I remember doing that, or it would be coming before the board to pay that up front. So, but my understanding is it's 98,000, and then the maintenance would come year 6 through 10, so we wouldn't have to address
And you could
that
also
right away.
build that into the budget.
And we would build, yeah, correct.
Right, but it just wasn't included in our board packet of what your plan was or where you were requesting these funds from. So I just want to be clear.
Anthony, there's a line item under elections called equipment acquisitions.
Yeah, mine.
I do believe that's what you're going to use.
Yes, it would be.
Which we would make an amendment to. I was really excited that we were able, I spoke with the Grand Blanc's clerk, and he informed me that they received the grant money and that we'd be eligible for it too. So I was pretty excited that we could recoup 20,000, up to 20,000, just under, I mean, for the high-speed scanner.
Mr. Powell?
Mr. Supervisor, maybe Treasurer Clerk, Clerk, I'm sorry, Anthony.
That's all right.
$77,000 for a maintenance agreement, and the cost of the machine's only $98,000. And that's 6 years from now. There might be a lot of upgrades and everything at that point. It almost seems as though we should not get the pay up front, the 6 to 10-year maintenance, because in 6 years, we might want to just buy a new machine that comes with a 5-year maintenance agreement on it already, so.
I don't think he was
We do
actually
not pay.
requesting the maintenance.
Oh, okay, all right, that's what I didn't know.
We're not going to pay that.
It was just on the paperwork that was presented.
Okay, thank you.
From the
And you got
manufacturer.
to realize the maintenance that we perform on the machines is we have the 13 plus the extras, which leaves us right around 16.
Plus,
right?
we have the voter assist terminal.
Voter, yeah, the
So we
bat
have
machines.
2 per precinct.
So all that has to get serviced, through HART.
Obviously.
So, and as Terry would say, he would say, be careful with those. They're expensive. So, and we take, we handle them with kid gloves, trying to get them out to the precincts.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Anthony, didn't you say that if we don't buy the high-speed scanner, we'd have to buy some of those other
Correct.
scanners, which are $5,000 anyway?
They're $5,000 a piece, and what did we figure out, plus the,
You would have to probably buy 13 more. We used 4 in our absent voter counting board last election, but that shorted us in case something were to happen out in the precinct and a machine were to go down. We didn't have the extras that we need. So we would want one for every single precinct. And then at that point, you're doubling the amount of workers as well.
Yeah, that's a big problem, trying to get the people.
To go from 3 per minute to 100 per minute,
so I stood.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, I stood there and watched, in one of the precincts, it was 17 to 25 seconds to put it through, and as we discussed earlier today, and if you add those up, Treasurer Roman and I did, that becomes quite a process. And a lot of our absentee workers are elderly. They bring food, you're sequestered inside. We did have a poll watcher this time. He was in there for about 8 hours with no cell phone. He had sequestered his cell phone. I informed him, if you leave, it's a felony. And I confirmed that with Joe Roselle. So he could only talk to the head chair that was working that night. So he said he enjoyed the process and thought it was above board, and he enjoyed sitting there. So I took my hat off to him.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay. Looking for a motion?
I gave my paperwork away.
I passed it, I'm sorry, I did pass it back down. Thank you, Mike, I appreciate it. For some reason,
You guys want me to
Anthony and I
make the
can't get
motion?
online right now.
I mean, make a motion
like
to
a cheat sheet.
purchase the Hart high-speed scanner.
Excuse me. One moment.
Comment. What was your name again? Jillian, she made the comment.
Stand
You
up
gotta
and
stand up.
identify yourself.
Sorry, I know.
You've
Who
been
are
in
you,
enough
sir?
of these.
We have no idea who you are.
Pete Piccianato, 8771 Townsend Drive. The question I have is, you said it doesn't go over the internet, but you made a comment about cellular. What does it do? Does it go over the cellular phone lines? Well, that can get hacked.
No
kidding. I mean, I'm sorry, that can get, oh, yeah.
Wait,
Sorry,
you
I
didn't-
worked in the auto industry,
I
and I
understand.
download from the cloud,
Okay.
and we had to work real hard, and we still get hacked through that,
So
through
the
the
V
radio
drive,
system.
the V drives are in the machine.
But you could still get hacked. You're still telling me you're
But those
going
are
over the cellular
unofficial,
lines.
those are unofficial results. I hand carry those thumb
Okay.
drives, which we call V drives.
I understand,
down
but you
there.
still can get hacked. Please, don't
would
say
like-
you can't because you're going over the internet. Cellular data gets hacked. That's all I want to make a comment
I
at.
can tell you this, it's an encrypted,
I
same as,
encrypted software. I understand that, Anthony. I understand it. I understand the iCloud. That's why the cars, we got them started because somebody hacked into the radio systems. So I understand that, Anthony. You can hack through the cellular phone.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Next,
you got-
you identify yourself?
I'm Diana Shea, and I'm from 9669 Steep Hollow Drive. And now my mother used to work the election. She worked in West Bloomfield for 30 years. So I'm well aware of the whole process as well as the chain of command issues. Now, how long have we been counting these? I guess my first question is about how many people voted in the past election, the one that just happened?
8,600.
8,600. How many people voted in the November election of 2020?
Like
I was not
11-ish,
here.
like 11,000-ish.
About 11,000? Okay.
No, there was 12,400 AB ballots in November, but I don't know how many were in person.
Okay, all right. So, and how long have you been using the current system?
Since at least 2018.
So since
Just
2018,
counting
you've been hand counting?
We do not hand count.
Okay. So what system are you currently using? What kind of a tabulator?
The Verity scan.
Okay, and how is that done? Like, what's the process with that?
They put their ballot in one at a time.
Okay, so one person puts them in one at a time. And how long does that take one person to put, how many ballots can they do in a minute?
Maybe 4,
4 in a minute?
17 to 25 seconds per ballot,
Wow, okay. 4 in a minute. Okay, and how many people are doing it?
one at a time.
No, how many people?
She means how many election
How many
workers?
volunteers, election
We
workers?
have 12 down there, but we only have 2 to 4 machines.
2 to 4 machines. Okay, and then, and how long has that been taking? Like, what time do you start?
We can start at 7 a.m.
7 a.m., and what time are you done?
This time we left at 12:30.
12:30 in the morning. And so how were you doing it prior to 2018?
Well, before 2018, it wasn't no reason absent voting. So you had to have a reason to vote absentee, but in 2018, it passed by a vote of the people to allow no reason absentee voting. So prior to 2018, there wasn't that many.
Okay, so it's not working too well having that many people, no reason absentee voting.
That would be up to the people again.
Right, okay.
That was something that.
that was legislation that came in 2018.
It became a problem in 2018
No,
or
it's
20
legislation proposal 18-3.
Excuse me. If, I know you have some of these questions, if you want to know really more of the process in great
Please
detail,
come in.
I would invite you to come to the clerk's office.
Yeah, I would love to have you.
Yeah, no,
time.
well,
I would love to have you.
yeah, no, I just had some, because I'm trying to figure out why it's an issue over the past couple, I mean, obviously with
We
COVID and all that.
We we don't make the laws at a local level. We don't legislate, that's going to be your state senator, your state reps.
Okay, no, I'm trying to
So
figure out.
we're just adhering to the laws.
Obviously, there's a lot of concerns about
And I
the,
would like to give a little, my background is police work, and I'm definitely not going to, I'm never going to do any type of fraud here for any of the residents, period. I take it very serious.
yeah, no, I just want to make a point, just because I am a precinct delegate, and
Yeah,
I am here, I came here specifically because of that, I take it very seriously, I just had some
Absolutely.
questions
I'm glad you
to
do.
ask. And also a comment to make, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of concerns about the internet, and they're valid concerns.
And Pete, to your point, we pull them out, I go with a police officer. Those are unofficial results, the results on there.
Cellular. She says
Yeah.
they're still tied to the cellular system.
But
It's still a hacked system.
that's why I'm asking all three of you to work the next election.
Understand, sir. Unofficial.
One conversation, please.
I apologize, I'm just trying to say, my concern is over cellular data, it still can get hacked. Whether it's unofficial or not, it still can get hacked.
Thank you, Mr. Conchinato.
sorry.
Okay. That's,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
thank you very much. Please visit the clerk.
And I don't know if
Yeah.
Jillian or Anthony can answer this. So a totally closed system, the machine would download to a thumb drive, maybe.
Correct.
At what point in the entire system is the cellular used? I mean, is the cellular tied to the machine at all? And does the cellular read the thumb drive and the hard drive that's in the counter? Oh, it does? Okay.
It transmits the results via cellular, and as soon as you hit close the polls, they're transmitted, and we pull that flash drive, and that's what gets locked up or sealed and brought back to us, and then that's what Anthony takes to the county. So what goes over cellular, and this is the machines that we've been using since 2018. This isn't not with the it's not a change with the high-speed scanner. So as soon as those transmit, we pull the flash drives, and then they're secured. Everything is reported as unofficial results, and then the county uploads those flash drives, and they stay with them. They don't come back to us until they're ready for the next election.
Okay, so the flash drives are not, are in the custody of the township and are taken to the county, and that's the official count?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
State your name, ma'am.
Teresa Johns. You're saying that you take the thumb drive to the county. What happens when it goes to the county?
It's turned over, I signed for it. I take it and I check and I sign it with one of their election employees
And where does that go from that point?
to a boardroom, which is going to be the Board of Canvassers.
And that goes into where then? Where does that hard drive go? Into a computer?
It stays there. No, we pull it out, it's sealed, so the inspector brings it back in a sealed bag. It comes to our receiving board. That paperwork's, completed, things are sealed up. The thumb drives, B drives, are sealed up, and then I am escorted with the police officer down there to the county, along with, some departments have their just police officer drive it down. White Lake, it's been a long-standing, the clerk rides down with the police officer. I think I was there about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
There was a lot of precinct, or other cities, we were right in the mid-range, but that is left there, and then I leave, or I'd be up day and night.
So let me ask a question. In reference to, is there a correlation from that thumb drive you take to the Oakland County and then they bring back the results? Is there a correlation between what you have and what they have? Is there something you can go to look,
Yeah.
to refer back to?
We actually have the ballots.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
We have a printout.
Right, the tab.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna clarify.
Report.
And it
Yeah.
tells us, it doesn't tell us who voted for who.
But it gives you
tells
the-
us 5 people voted for Mickey Mouse,
Got it.
10 people voted for Donald Duck.
Okay.
And to your point, Mrs. Johns, those results, they come out right there at the site, at the precinct.
Right.
So we know right then. But before I became a clerk, it's a lot of the law changes constantly. As I said when I was a police officer, I enforce the law, I don't legislate them.
Well, I just think everybody's concerned after the 2020
And,
election.
and I
think
understand,
it should-
and I totally understand that, but I think our integrity here at White Lake, I know our integrity here at White Lake is above board. I can't answer, like I told the gentleman that came in, he was really upset, on what went on, and I said, you know what I can control? I can control White Lake Township and the voting here at the best of my ability. And my staff, and we have a lot of people, and I asked everybody that wants to work, we've got a lot of new people, they want to be part of the process. And I asked them here, as I asked you, unfortunately, to your question earlier, we do not do shifts. It's very hard. Some people, one person got very sick that day. We have people that didn't show. Things come up. So the more people I can get interested, we are doing we went to the high school and we did a day where we signed up for government class, kids to vote. And I think I had right around 10 young people that worked the election. And it was very exciting. A lot of people were really thrilled that, we have a succession plan because I'm going to age out eventually as life goes on. And we want to teach our kids that how important voting is and how important, this is a right, a privilege to vote. It's a privilege to, and people fought for that privilege. So I take it, and I know everybody on this board and the precinct delegates on both sides of the aisle take it very serious.
Anthony, I want to thank you for that because I met several of those high school students that worked the election. They were so excited. They took it so seriously. It was wonderful. Clerk Noble and myself are precinct delegates. We understand the importance of this. It's completely ethical. I just wanted to clarify, this is only for absentee voting, and the machines at the precincts do have the tabs that are printed immediately that anybody can see. So that's, a whole separate issue that they come out right away from the machine.
And we also have Brian's in the room. He's one of our chairs that works elections. So when you guys leave, he can tell you all about it too.
Okay. First, any other comment? We have Mr. Rome.
I was in the middle of the motion to approve not more than $98,660 to purchase the HART scanner, high-speed scanner, with the money to be applied to the elections, equipment acquisitions line item, and the money to come from the American Rescue Plan.
That is in the form of a motion. Looking for support.
Support that.
I have support from Andrew Voorhees. Roll call vote.
Clerk Noble, yes. Supervisor Kowal.
Yes.
Treasurer Roman.
Yes.
Trustee Voorhees.
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes?
Trustee Ruggles.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Come get your applications, please, for the next election fee.
I already did it. I already gave mine.
All right,
No,
thank
I'm
you.
coming for it. I trust no one.
Item C, first reading amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 6,
Thank you,
Chapter
Julie.
18, Article 2, Section 1825, Fire Prevention and Protection Ordinance. Chief, you just broke my heart.
Yeah?
That Army surplus flamethrower I just bought, I can't use it anymore?
Not in White Lake, Rick.
Yeah, you leave it in your closet,
I
for
didn't,
sure.
I didn't believe that when he told me.
Is that up north, Rick?
Can use it in Waterford.
Good evening, board members.
Good
How's
evening.
everybody doing tonight? Good?
Good.
Thank you. It's
Guys
nice-
feeling generous? We can just get right through this and good deal. I apologize. I'm just getting past COVID, so I still have that residual cough. So if I have to stop and cough, and I don't know how long this is going to last, but what you have before you is two fire code amendments. The first one is with regard to our rental property, trying to streamline the smoke alarm requirements. They're all over the place, the types of smoke alarms that are being used, the ages of them, and this is probably one of the most common deficiencies that we're finding. So what I am proposing is with rental properties, as they have to replace these devices, they replace them with, number one, a 10-year sealed battery smoke alarm. The recommended replacement on a smoke alarm is 10 years. That's the manufacturer and National Fire Protection Association recommendation. So if they seal the batteries, one of the biggest complaints are the tenants steal the batteries out, the smoke alarms, the device doesn't operate then. They seal them. If they try to get the battery, the device is destroyed. So we get a 10-year battery, it's sealed. The tenant nor the property owner will have to worry about that anymore for 10 years. Second thing is the type of smoke alarms. Most of the smoke alarms you buy are ionization. Ionization is it has a small amount of radioactive material in it, and it conducts an electrical field. And when smoke obscures that, it sets the device off. These are really more recommended for fast flaming fires. So anything you would expect fast flaming fire, that's an ionization. Photoelectric is another type of smoke alarm that responds quicker to smoldering fires. It's just a beam of light. When that gets obscured, it redirects the light to a sensor, sets the alarm off. The recommendation is dual sensor, is to have both, because you really don't know what kind of fire you're going to encounter in a home. It could be most of the time it's a slower smoldering fire, but it could be a fast flaming fire too. So the recommendation is to have dual sensor smoke alarms, and that's what we're proposing for rental property.
Very good. And the other item?
The other item, well, this one's interesting. Sometimes we have to be somewhat reactive. And this is a reactive ordinance amendment to the fire code. I received a call from the Oakland County Sheriff Department after the fireworks show on White Lake. And they had gotten a complaint from the White Lake Citizens League regarding somebody on the lake using a flamethrower. And there's a video. And I'm going to tell you, it is a real flamethrower. And I was quite surprised. The gentleman's on a raft using it. He's putting raw fuel into the water. It's a little concerning when you really watch him use it. Good. And then he's on a jet ski with it's about 3.5 gallons of gasoline strapped on your back, and he's on a jet ski with the device. So if you really think about a flamethrower, there's no practical use for this device other than it's an ooh and an ah thing. You just out there, you're really, you look at it, if it's predictable, it's preventable. And if you really, when you think about it, this is just a disaster waiting to happen. We took it quite serious. When I get a complaint like this, I looked at it, I watched the video. I did contact Lisa. We talked briefly about it. I was trying to be somewhat creative, deciding if I'm going to charge this gentleman, but he didn't set anything on fire. He used a device. And then the second thing is we share that water with Highland Township. I really couldn't prove where he was. He could have been in Highland Township waters too. So I turned it over to the fire marshal. He's been trying to contact somebody from the state of Michigan.
Yep, I'm on.
He just gets fast breath. Oh, here it is right here. This is the actual video. Went to YouTube.
Hit the horn. Horn it up.
Nobody knows a lot about them. Just like a lot of things. I'm not saying you can't own them. What I'm saying is not to use them within this community. If you want to use them, go to another community.
Go someplace else. Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
I just want to thank you for educating me. I had to ask my husband what a flamethrower was. The way he described it was nothing compared to that. I'm embarrassed as a White Laker to see that. I absolutely saw those fireworks, and I helped sponsor those fireworks, so thank you.
Yeah. We did put a definition in there. I figured part of the fire code, I wanted to really define what a flamethrower was.
I just want to thank the chief. Like I said, I've seen a lot of laws enacted, but I've never seen that before, so great job, great catch.
Yes, thanks.
Great throwing that on there so you can do something about it.
Just a quick question. Did the fire department do any consideration of carbon monoxide detectors in rental units as well?
Yeah, that's actually a code requirement. If they have a fuel-fired heating device, heating unit of any type in there, it could be water heater, furnaces, forced air furnace, anything, they have to have a carbon monoxide detector. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like the all-inclusive devices because if the device fails, they lose everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So my quick comment is Chief and I had a discussion about both these amendments, and I just wanted to share with my board, just a streamline. So the landlords will be given this new information upon their rental inspection, have notice to be able to have time to put the correct smoke detector in. So that's all gonna work out perfect through our rental program, and he's already got that portion covered to, get the word out to our landlords.
Is there a reader on these units so where you know that the battery only has 3 years of life left in it? How do you know that it's 10 years or is up?
Well, that's actually a good question. Number one is you're really expected to test that device monthly. Test it, make sure it does function. You're texting the alarm, make sure it functions. And part of the amendment is if it fails to function, even before the lifetime of the device, you replace it. But
Mr. Powell, I will tell you from my own personal experience that what happens with the 10-year unit is that it has the same fail-safe device in it as a regular smoke detector.
It chirps.
What happens is that after the certain amount of power drops down to a certain level, it sets that annoying beep.
Yep.
you get the chirp, the battery low chirp.
Beep, like,
Okay.
you'll either change it or throw it out.
Yeah.
But part of our rental inspection program is they will check the smoke detectors each time they go in.
Yes.
Yeah, we actually pull them down and we look at the date on them.
Oh.
And we look at the date. I want to make, if they're not within that 10-year span, we require the landlord to replace them.
Yeah, they do, all
Yeah.
smoke detectors are mandated to have a manufacturer date and that expiration date from there. And this particular unit that you're talking about is becoming more and more and more commonplace.
Yeah.
And in particular in multi-housing units for the specific reason of, oh, it's making noise, or, oh, I need a battery for Johnny's little toy, I got him on Christmas.
Yeah, and if the board remembers, a few years back, I put in another amendment for not only rental property, it could be for multifamily, is that we follow the same code requirements as new construction, with the exception, we don't make them hardwire them if they're not already hardwired. Because the way the code, it was difficult to enforce because the way it read is they have to comply with how they were inspected then. I have no idea what code was in effect back in 1972 here. I don't know. So we wrote an amendment and they follow the same code as what would be expected for new property.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Motion, Mr.
I just had a question for the
Last
chief
question,
first.
please.
Chief, the owner of the flamethrower, do you know if he resides in White Lake or Highland?
Does not. The fire marshal did his due diligence, identified him. He is not a White Lake
Live in White
resident.
Lake.
No, he's not a White Lake resident. It was, when I went to lease something, okay, how are we gonna move forward with this? And you gotta be, I have to, we can be somewhat creative, but I don't like writing tickets and charging if we
Yeah.
can't really have no authority to do so.
I get it. Do you know if Highland's ordinance addresses
I would
flamethrower?
seriously doubt it. I talk to people, this is the first time in 37 years on this fire department, first time I've seen somebody with a flamethrower on their back. I'm sure it's probably happened, but you know what? We have a social media platform now and people love the video, so you get caught. You bring your flamethrower out, you're gonna get caught, Rick. Somebody's gonna video you.
It was all over Facebook.
Yeah.
Mr. Supervisor, I'm just curious, this ordinance does not have the penalties in it. What penalties are tied to this? If you find someone that's doing that, how do you ticket them and what are the fines?
Okay, the way I set this up I didn't change it. Everything would be municipal civil infraction unless I change it otherwise. So it's a civil infraction if you use it. If you set fire recklessly, it becomes a misdemeanor. So the way, if you just simply get it out, you use it, we catch you, it's a civil infraction fine, and it follows a civil infraction, that threshold of fines. If you set something on fire, yeah, then the charges are gonna escalate. It'll become a criminal charge then.
There's somewhere to go with it that could do property damage. Yeah. Comment?
Just to be
Counsel?
clear, this amendment, this addition to the fire code ordinance is a municipal civil infraction. When you say if they actually set something on fire, it becomes another charge, that's another section of the fire code that calls it out as a misdemeanor.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Understand.
Okay.
Good point.
Any other questions, or someone care to make a motion? Mr. Ruggles?
Well, hang on here. Sorry, John.
We are, I apologize, Mr. Supervisor, but we're all
Want a
having
hard copy,
technical
Scott?
difficulties. We can't get into the agenda.
And I don't usually throw a couple amendments in. Usually I just
Are
keep
you
it to
just
one.
on the internet? Are you just using the, because I'm on the internet and I just got the agenda and I have no problem.
I have an error message and I tried even off my phone.
Yeah, I agree, I'm the same
Maybe they
way,
got
so.
hacked.
Yeah, Andrea can't get in either.
You didn't hack us, did you, Pete?
Yeah, I downloaded it from the cloud.
Through the phones. Okay. Okay, let's see here. I'll make a motion to approve,
Here, give him this one. Look at
amendment to the motions, Chapter 18, Article 2, Fire Code.
it. Yep, that's it.
As presented.
As presented. We have a motion, looking for support?
Support?
I motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Scott? Both of them, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chief,
Chief.
very, very much.
Thank you.
Interesting, Chief. Almost humorous.
Yep.
Okay. We got through that. That was interesting. Continued new business, which would be item A, which we shifted to D, amended stormwater maintenance agreement and easement preserve at Hidden Lake. Mr. Potter.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor.
Log in.
So, back in February, we reviewed a site plan amendment for Preserve at Hidden Lakes, which was specifically focused around Phase 4, which, if you remember, was originally proposed as townhouses. The developer requested to move to a product that they're selling, which was the single-family homes in lieu of the townhouses. So we did a review on the plan. It was determined that there were several decks that were going to be outside of the building envelope and that were going to be inside of an adjacent stormwater easement that was already granted to the township and recorded. So that got addressed in the administrative site plan review, but per that, the review of all those documents with the township attorney, it was decided that the easement that was previously recorded should also contain indemnification language the same as the amended master deed, to make that easier for heirs and assigns the association to understand what their responsibilities were there should the township need to come in and do maintenance on that storm system. So what we have, I've invited PH Holmes, their attorney, Mr. Bruce Hugg, is here tonight. I think this has been reviewed. We've been reviewing this back and forth all week with the township attorney, so I have included the red line version in the package. But again, the master deed amendment has been going through the processes in the planning department. I believe they're final on that. They are final on the site plan amendment, administrative review. So this is just essentially a formality to make this previously recorded document contiguous with the language that's in the master deed so that there is no misunderstanding of any parties on the responsibilities contained therein. That makes sense.
Thank you. Counselor, anything to add? No?
No, I will tell you, really the substantive changes are in paragraph 1 and in paragraph 6. I'm sorry, yes. The paragraphs 3 and 5, even though they're all in red and it looks like they were all changed, the only thing that were changed there is our previous draft, the previous document, did not specifically state that it applies to successors and assigns. And so I asked them, while we're amending this anyway, let's also incorporate changes to those paragraphs 3 and 5 so that we can clearly indicate that it applies to successors and assigns as well, and they agreed to do that. So the substantive changes are really in paragraph one. I think that's it.
Okay. Any further questions?
Nope, no further questions.
Okay. Any comments?
I have two potentially issues. Number one, I'm going to suggest that the developer and the builder of the homes potentially extend the decks out further than the columns. In other words, the columns, if they are out in the stormwater easement agreement or easement area, and something needs to be done, you're actually ripping the decks out and the columns out from underneath the decks, and it becomes a much bigger issue. If you pull those columns back and extend the deck out into the easement, you at least are securing the decks outside of the easement, even though the decks extend out into the easement areas. Is it just a technical thing?
So you're saying pull the columns back?
Pull the columns back and allow the deck to extend out into the easement. That's a much better.
Cantilever it.
Cantilever it out into the, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. That's number one. And number two, the logistics of repairing a problem in an emergency. If in fact the township has to come in and make some repairs, do some emergency repairs, even though we're indemnified, this is maybe to our attorney as well, if a deck is pulled off of a structure while we're maintaining this, that goes a great deal further than just damaging a deck. I mean, the decks are attached to the house on one side, and if you pull that off, you're doing a lot more damage. So I'm assuming that the township would ask someone to deal with the deck before we come in and have to do any emergency maintenance on that storm sewer easement. So I just throw that out there as issues that I can see that could cause more of a problem. Even though we're indemnified, I would think the homeowner might say, well, why did the township rip my deck off? So I'm just letting that be what it is.
I agree, and that is an area that was, I know was a concern, and we did talk about that when we went through the agreement. However, there will be, we are indemnified, and I believe that, people will have to do their homework if something happens, and hopefully if it wouldn't be a problem where something is spewing out of the ground like a 10-foot water main.
That'd be nice.
It's an issue. There would be time to say, okay, we got to move this section, get to it and repair something. There's a sinkhole here, it started. We got to take care of it, which is more likely to be an issue than anything else. However, I think as a practice, I would discourage this practice from having easements this close. I mean, it just is could potentially long-term be problematic to persons in the future. And that's why there has to just be a heightened awareness of it.
It's, and just to be clear, this is only stormwater, which is privately owned facility. Water main is not impacted, sewer main is not impacted. So this would be the maintenance responsibility of the association or of the builder. And, the township would only be involved in So the township would only be involved in these cases should the association decide that they don't want to.
Fail to remedy the problem.
Yeah, correct.
Right, okay. Questions or comments? Okay, looking for a motion. Mr. Powell?
Mr. Supervisor, I move that this board approve the First Amendment to the Stormwater Management Facilities easement, maintenance agreement, and lien as presented tonight.
I have a motion, looking for support? Support. I have support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, second reading, fee ordinance amendment, ordinance number 129. It's a notice of adoption amendment to ordinance 129. We had different fees, of which at the moment, I'm trying to remember exactly what that was.
It's the NSF fee, Mr.
Thank you,
Supervisor.
NSF. I do not have a red line copy.
Yeah, I don't have a red line copy either.
And that's right, the NSF fee was to roll with the current legal rate.
Yeah, under state statute.
correct?
Maximum.
Just maximum legal rates.
Maximum permitted by law.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Any questions or comments from the board?
That's the only change.
That's the only change. And not seeing none, I will make a motion to adopt ordinance, the amendment to ordinance the fee ordinance amendment, ordinance 129. Make that in the form of a motion. Looking for support?
Support.
I have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Trustee comments. Mr. Ruggles.
No, I don't really have any comments. We have a planning commission meeting this Thursday. We'll be addressing the CIP and conceptual plan that's been submitted for property on Smith Lake Road, so we'll be taking a look at that.
Number 10?
Pardon me?
Plan number 10 or 11?
No, it's the
No, this is the first.
potential River Caddis development.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking about the
No,
other.
not
the
on the
other
corner, in the
location.
back,
Okay,
yeah, so
okay.
the plan includes proposed apartment building.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Trustee Voorhees.
Thank you. I also want to thank April Stevenson again for coming to talk to us about the library. I had the privilege of meeting her at the library one day. It was great. She's jumped right into being in White Lake. She's already been to the Historical Society. She's volunteered the people of the library to help run an activity at the Fisk Farm Festival coming up. So she's great addition to the library. In regards to Parks and Rec, we have a survey on the front page of the Township website and it's because we're putting together a 5-year master plan. So we would love to have your input. It's up there for a month till September 15th. And at 5 o'clock this afternoon, I do realize this is not a huge number, but for being up for live for 48 hours, we've had 217.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a start, just to show us how to shape the parks and have a potential vision for the next 5 years. And then Fisk Farm Fall Festival is full of fun and frolicking. I would truly encourage my fellow board members to be there to volunteer your services, whether it be shucking corn, Anthony, cooking on the grill, hamburgers, hot dogs. That's the same for you, Mr. Audience Member, it's chuckling, but seriously, it's a great fun. My husband and I work. They can always use volunteers in the cooking and the beverage area. My husband and I aren't able to be there this year.
What's the date?
September 10th and 11th from 10 to 5, if I remember the hours correctly. It's just it's a fun weekend.
It is a fun weekend. I had the opportunity to work the grill with Bob.
Yeah, so
you get dinner and a show. So
Yeah, truly you
it was
do.
fun.
But I would love to see, I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna ask my friends that are gonna be there, I'm gonna ask them for attendance of who they saw at the board meeting.
I go on the Sundays
You
so
see
that I
us.
don't have to
We all
watch the Lions
come.
I know, I
play.
agree,
Stop
but trust
calling
me,
us
there are
out.
years
We
I
are all
haven't
there.
seen a certain member that sits next to me that I won't give a name to.
That's exactly right, you're right.
But no, they could totally use your help. But that's true of any year, like the food and beverages where we could really truly, I got my friends from Daughters of American Revolution because they are very helpful in volunteering to come support my booth for the weekend. So, but we can still use your wonderful help and assistance volunteerism that weekend. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Mr. Powell.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I want to wish all my fellow residents here in White Lake Township a very safe and happy Labor Day that's coming up. We won't be having another meeting before then. And I just wanted to let my board members know that I will be missing the special meeting in September because I leave next week on a missionary trip to Romania for 10 days to work with the refugees from Ukraine. And so I'm never done anything like that before. And if you think about me, that's great. If you pray for me, that's even better. So thank you very much.
We will pray for your safe travels.
Yes, there'll be some airtime, certainly.
Okay. Mr. Roman.
Well, today I'd like to congratulate our township clerk on a job well done with the election. Thank you. Great job, Anthony.
Yes.
Your whole department, just a job, super job done. And thanks for the research on the scanner as well. You got a great team. And this was, if you don't know, this is Anthony's first election and his staff as well. He's got new staff, so great job.
Thank you.
Also glad to see the Bogey Lake Water Main project starting. I can't believe they directionally drilled to get those things in underground.
Isn't that incredible?
Those things, how long is each pipe?
About
Aaron,
40
rough-
feet.
40 feet?
Oh, no.
No, 20 foot.
You had 20-foot sections, but they fuse them together into a couple hundred, 300 feet long, and they pull that entire length through.
That
I
is
think he was
amazing.
talking, each individual section's about 40 feet long.
About
I
40
think.
feet?
Correct.
Then they weld them together. It's
That's
really
still
fascinating.
amazing.
Yes.
So basically, they're drilling a giant hole and then feeding it.
Yeah, they can pull quite a bit. They,
amazing.
when they start to get too much resistance, they'll dig what they call a relief pit. And that takes some pressure off the pipe in certain areas, and they can pull a lot.
So is it going as planned so far?
So far, yes.
So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, as always, to the Earlies, thanks for coming to the meeting. To all of our residents that came tonight, thank you for coming to the meeting.
Very good. Trustee Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So I, of course, want to thank everybody for getting out and vote, and thank you, Anthony, for your staff and all the election workers that spent so much of their dedicated time. I thought it was a smooth day. I was out all day assisting, and I was so glad to see so many people out voting. So thank you to all the residents that made that possible and our staff to make that a successful day. Of course, summer wishes. It's sad to see it come to an end, but want to wish all our students a successful year as they go back to school. Of course, we'll just kind of skip over my library update because April did such a lovely job presenting all the available things that are happening. We warmly welcome her to White Lake. We've been welcoming her for a couple months now, so it's nice to see her come in person and introduce herself to our residents. She's a breath of fresh air. I'm excited of what she has planned for our library. She's doing a great job so far. I just want to mention, if you aren't plugged into the elections, White Lake Township, even though it's not decided, it'll be decided in November. We have been split into 2 county commission districts, so the three. And so that's something just new here going on in White Lake. I hope that our new county commissioners will be really communicative to us. There's important things coming up. There will be something coming up that they recently passed for transit on the November ballot. So I just want to give a heads up to our residents to educate yourself on that and read about that. I want to mention that the fire department is having a fire truck pull. I believe it's September 11th. You can donate to their teams. You can make a team of yourself. It's a great fundraiser. It's held in like the Hobby Lobby parking lot, Kroger's shopping center there. Just cheer them on, if nothing else. It's neat to see. They literally pull a fire truck. And then Mr. Powell and I attend church, so you're in my prayers, sir, and I'll be praying for you. And thank you for going on that mission. And him and I both go to church there and attend mission, so you're in my prayers. And I think that's about it. Thank you for joining us. It was nice to have some residents this evening. We've had kind of sparse, so it was nice to see many familiar faces tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ruggles. Oh, I already did you. I beg your pardon. My brain slipped for a minute. I'm thinking of donuts. And I think of donuts, I think of Scott, okay? So I can't help it, okay? So, Mike, you'll have the same problem soon, okay?
I can't wait.
Yeah. Anthony.
I just want to thank the residents and my staff who worked tirelessly through, everybody would say, the big day is election day. The big day, because the absentee ballots that are coming in, is every day, and it keeps increasing. So anyone that's out there listening, come into the clerk's office, get an application. Brian's one of that's here tonight. He's one of our precinct chairs. Appreciate him. He worked a long day. Making these purchases, I'm a very fiscally conservative person when it comes in everybody on this board, I believe, is we have a very good, healthy budget from being fiscally smart with the money that the residents provide the township. And I just want to thank everybody that participated. It is a privilege to vote. People died for our freedom, and we still have the greatest country in the world. And I want people to ask questions and come in, because once we become complacent and we're not asking questions, then things go awry. So I appreciate everybody here that are asking those tough questions tonight. Thank you.
Very good. Anthony, I'd like to congratulate you also on a great job. Well done. And I firmly believe that anyone has any questions, and I know Anthony will be more than happy to give you as much information as you can possibly digest about the election process. So I know he takes it very seriously, so it's a good thing. You mentioned the water main. It is going in. They completed the sewer line on Porter Road, and I believe they're pressure testing now, correct?
Completed. The final tie-ins yesterday.
Okay, good. So we have final tie-in, so that is one step closer for our iron filtration plant at Aspen Meadows. We have had multiple delays in equipment, and the project will go on a little longer than we want, but we're still moving in the right direction. So that's definitely positive. I'd like to thank everyone that came out and voted and supported all the millages. They were all super important. They passed with a 70+%. So this way we can retain the level of services that we have and continue to try to give people the best possible services that we can. Anthony and I had an interesting experience this afternoon. This gentleman came in, and he was a foreign gentleman, and we were chatting with him for a moment, and he said, he says, in America, White Lake is the best place to be. So, I mean, it was kind of a neat little thing to hear somebody say that, and so it was good. The issue that Trustee Smith kind of talked about that'll be on November ballot was a ballot initiative taken on by the Oakland County Board of Commissioners for countywide transportation, a 0.95 millage across the board. And it did pass
15 to 7.
13 to 7?
15 to
15 to 7, I beg your pardon. Okay, 15 to 7. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. I'm very glad to say that I did have an opportunity, along with Rick Hamill, to have a very candid conversation with Mr. Woodward about the importance that if it does go through, that communities actually get enough back that they can actually do something with it. Very interesting things to talk about. So we will see where this goes. Anybody should know that White Lake Township, in conjunction with Waterford, Highland, and the City of Walled Lake, have been supporters of transportation for our senior and disabled. This particular millage would open up transportation to anyone that needed a ride anywhere, which is going to be a daunting task unto itself. And there are a lot of questions that are unanswered, and a lot of questions that need to have the right answers. So hopefully voters will make a decision that will be based on fact and not fiction. So with that, I say to everyone, thank you very much for being here tonight, all of you, and nice to see you, Pete, and Teresa. Good to see you. And Earlies and the others, thank you so much for being here, and I say good night.
Motion to
God
adjourn.
bless. Motion to adjourn. Approved.
Support.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourn.